In Christianity, the pursuit of peace is a fundamental aspect of faith, rooted in the teachings of Jesus Christ. Many Christians are deeply committed to following Jesus' example and teachings, which emphasize love, forgiveness, and reconciliation. Jesus is often referred to as the Prince of Peace, and throughout the New Testament, his message consistently calls for peace, both in personal relationships and within the broader community. One of the most profound teachings of Jesus is found in the Sermon on the Mount, where he blesses the peacemakers, declaring that they shall be called children of God. This message encourages Christians to actively work toward peace, resolving conflicts through nonviolent means and promoting understanding among people. Christian organizations and individuals have been inspired by these teachings to engage in various forms of peacemaking. For instance, many Christian groups are involved in conflict resolution and mediation efforts around the world, helping to bring warring parties to the negotiating table. The Quakers, or the Religious Society of Friends, are well known for their historical and ongoing commitment to pacifism and peace work, including advocacy against war and efforts to support victims of conflict. Additionally, Christian leaders such as Martin Luther King Jr. have drawn on the teachings of Jesus to lead nonviolent movements for social justice, demonstrating how Christian principles can be applied to achieve peace and equality in society. While the pursuit of peace is central to Christian teachings, there is also a recognition within the tradition of the concept of a just war. Just war theory is a doctrine that has been developed over centuries, primarily by theologians such as Augustine of Hippo and Thomas Aquinas, to reconcile the necessity of warfare in certain circumstances with the moral imperatives of Christianity. According to just war theory, war may be justified if it meets specific criteria, such as being declared by a legitimate authority, being waged for a just cause, and being conducted with the right intention, namely the restoration of peace and justice. The war must also be a last resort, undertaken only after all other means of resolving the conflict have been exhausted, and it must be fought in a way that minimizes harm to civilians and avoids unnecessary suffering. An example of the application of just war theory is seen in World War II. Many Christians believed that fighting against the aggression and atrocities of Nazi Germany was morally justified because it aimed to stop widespread evil and restore peace to Europe. In this context, the war was seen as a necessary action to protect the innocent and preserve justice, aligning with the principles of just war. However, even within the framework of just war, Christians are called to maintain a focus on peace, and the ultimate goal of any just war should be the restoration of peace and order. Holy wars, on the other hand, are now largely rejected by almost all Christians. Historically, holy wars were fought with the belief that they were sanctioned or commanded by God, often with the aim of defending or spreading the Christian faith. The most notable examples are the Crusades, which were a series of religious wars fought in the medieval period, with the stated goal of reclaiming the Holy Land from Muslim control. Participants in the Crusades believed they were carrying out God's will, and the wars were framed as acts of religious devotion. However, over time, the concept of holy war has been increasingly scrutinized and rejected within Christianity. The violent and often brutal nature of the Crusades, along with the recognition that they caused immense suffering and did not reflect the teachings of Jesus on peace and love, has led to a widespread repudiation of the idea that war can be justified on purely religious grounds. The modern Christian perspective emphasizes that war should never be waged in the name of religion, as it contradicts the core Christian values of compassion, mercy, and forgiveness. Today, nearly all Christian denominations reject the notion of holy wars, advocating instead for peaceful coexistence and dialogue between different faiths. This shift reflects a deeper understanding of Jesus' message of love and peace, which transcends national and religious boundaries and calls for reconciliation rather than conflict. Many Christian leaders and organizations are now actively involved in interfaith initiatives, seeking to build bridges between communities and prevent the kind of religiously motivated violence that characterized past holy wars. In conclusion, Christianity places a strong emphasis on peace, following the teachings of Jesus, who advocated for love, forgiveness, and nonviolence. While just war theory allows for the possibility of war in certain circumstances, it is always with the aim of restoring peace and justice. The concept of holy war has been largely rejected by modern Christians, who recognize that such wars are incompatible with the teachings of Christ and the overall message of the gospel, which calls for peace and reconciliation among all people.